welcome to another edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Aaron McCarthy. I'm one of the co-hosts. To my right is a man who wants to get inside a certain pair of jeans, but he decided to get stock instead in that company. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing tonight?
I wasn't expecting that toss to me. I never know what you're going to I never know what you're going to toss, but you toss that one. I'm doing well. I ate a quick dinner. Sometimes, and I don't do it enough, but there's something special about chicken on the grill. I like grilling the chicken. It's got a little different taste of it. I love the cast iron skillet as much as anybody and other methods of cooking chicken, except I can't boil chicken. I can't abide by that, Ryan. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take it to hot food takes, but I'm doing well. How are you today, sir?
It's Hot Food Takes, a special edition of Hot Food Takes with us. Just kidding. I'm all right. I'm a little tired. Just I don't know if it's because it's the end of summer or it's because we've been so at it recording episodes and other things that I'm actually excited for our 2-week break because I need a bit of a rest. I don't know about you. I need a little bit of a respite from the podcasting realm for just a skosh.
Well, even, you do a lot more for this fine show than I do. And I'm feeling it a little bit. Like, as much as No Ticket Required is one of my favorite things we do here, but it was kind of nice to be like, oh, I don't have a movie to review and take copious notes for, but you'll figure out Ryan and I took copious notes for something else. So you'll still see our smiling faces during the break.
We'll let you know what it is towards the end of our show. But in the meantime, we want to thank you for joining us. If you're watching live on Facebook, on Twitter, and on our YouTube channel, this will be replayed tomorrow afternoon at some point on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. So you want to tune into that, leave a comment or two that drives the algorithm, because everything's algorithm driven these days, especially on YouTube. So you want to comment on the episode if you watch it on the replay. But in the meantime, if you're watching either live or on the replay, why don't you go ahead and follow us on social media? And that includes on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. Also, check out other podcasts and written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to our podcast wherever you lead podcasts, listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, YouTube, and on Podbean. And also hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube, just so you know when we go live, when we have show announcements, when we have clips that go up on our channels. We're going to try to do some more stuff on the community notes side on YouTube, because that's going to help hopefully drive our audience. So hopefully we can get that going. Rate, review, comment, 5-star rating on podcasts. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podchaser. If you're on Spotify, you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment in the comments section. And again, we are a live show most Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, and the occasional happy hour here and there on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And when we're live, we want you to comment on the show. Do give us a live comments. We've already got one in the comment section already. But Dustin, I'm feeling a little dragging a little bit today. But I know the sun always picks me up, and I'm not sure about you, but maybe it might pick you up as well.
It's a little late. It's close to break. We're feeling fine. It's chime time.
Hey, look at that. And speaking of which, Desi from Alabama saying sports ball. That's right.
Rapidly winning the title of the most active person in our Discord. So if you're watching out there and you'd like to join in to said Discord, peep the link and check it out in the show. And I gotta figure out I noticed our boy of summer, he's not in there. So I gotta say, hey, we gotta get him in there.
I don't know if he does Discord though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to check. I'll have to check in with him the next time I talk to our boy of summer.
I'm surprised my cohorts at the Metro Hockey, the Three Rails Metro Hockey podcasts
I threw them a link, and neither of them signed up, so I don't know if they're on Discord or not. But
and the captain of the Seahawks session ship, Dan Cruz, I don't know if he's in there.
I invited him. I invited him. I sent him the link, and nothing. I'm surprised.
I'm gonna get on him about that.
You should. You should. All right. As the title states, Aaron Boone needs to go. And yes, the time has come to fire Aaron Boone. Where do I begin? and I'm sure Dustin has his feelings, but I got a lot to say about this. So I posted on our Twitter page this afternoon. I said, hey, this is what we're going to talk about tonight. And I posted a GIF of him, that infamous clip from 2019, his first year as manager of the New York Yankees. And we go back in time in memory lane. This was shortly after Brett Gardner. Good old Brett Gardner.
Oh, Gardy plants one. I love Brett.
The Gardy party.
Yeah.
I gotta love a good Gardy party. He strikes out. And I guess the umpire is having I don't know if he had a bad day or a strike zone was just too wide or too narrow or whatever. Aaron Boone initially got his being a bonnet about regards to this umpire. But you see that clip, that at the time famous clip of him just handing the umpire his lunch. And he has that quote saying, "You got to lock this. You got to tighten it up. Tighten up your game. Fix this ish now. Tighten it up." He gets ejected from the game. So both he and Brett Gardner both got ejected from the game. And that Aaron Boone, I absolutely loved, because he was saying, "My guys are savages in that box, in that batter's box. They're gonna get at it every time we're at bat. You're holding us up from doing our jobs. Tighten it up." And like that was the management style we all wanted to see as Yankee fans.
That was his pro as a manager. And just a quick aside, Ryan, not to interrupt, but a couple of months ago saw this Yankee fan lives in the capital region. Now, I don't know who you are, anonymous Yankee fan, but first of all, you were smoking a cigar in your car, which that's a move right there.
Baller move. That's a baller move.
But he had a license plate frame that was rusted, I would say. It was aged, but it said "Savages in the Box." And it was a New York Yankees license plate frame. And it brought me back to that. I was like, oh my goodness, this guy bleeds pinstripes.
He does. Oh my goodness. So then we had 2020 and all that mess that happened. 2021 came along, a decent season. 2022, actually, no, it was 2019. That's when they lost to the Astros in that infamous series where we come to find out the Astros were doing some unscrupulous things.
I will never forgive Alex Bregman for saying it's almost like we knew it was what was coming with a smile. The arrogance to do that while you're cheating.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like, well, I didn't want my shirt to be ripped off because I just got a new tattoo and I didn't want to get it damaged. All right. Okay. Okay, Jose. 2020, the beat keeps going on. We start to see cracks in his managerial style, especially around 2023, where you just see the over-reliance on the long ball, the questionable pitching decisions. You see him kind of get into a little bit of a tiff on the mound with Garrett Cole, especially because Garrett Cole knows he's got good stuff, and Boone's trying to limit his pitching, trying to save his arm, as he would say. But Cole's a gamer. Cole's an absolute gamer. He's a player. He wants to stay out there for as long as he can. And now it comes to 2025, and I saw this stat. I got bookmarked, actually. It's from Max Goodman on Twitter. This was after last night's game when they lost once again. Took an early 2-0 lead. Another error leads to 4 runs, and they wound up going ahead. But then at the end they blow it, of course.
Yep.
So Max Goodman, covering the Yankees for NewJersey.com. And he mentioned this tweet. He says the Yankees had a 7-game lead in the American League East on May 28th. They were 15 games above 500. Since then, the Yankees are 25-33. After last night's loss, their fourth in a row since the trade deadline. That's a killer right there. Fourth in a row since the trade deadline. The Yankees are 5.5 games back of the Blue Jays for third in the AL East, and they're only 7 games above 500. That is inexcusable. The collapse this team is experiencing is, I can't say it's historic, but it's damn near historic. I mean, for a team to be 7 games up right after, or right before, or right after Memorial Day. Actually, Wednesday after Memorial Day, they're 7 games up. And now they're 5.5 games back. That's a 12.5 game flip. That swing is incredible. It's an incredible swing. The only collapse I can think of that's kind of close to this was the 95 AL West division crown between the Seattle Mariners and the then Anaheim Angels, where the Angels had this huge lead going into August, and they had an absolutely monumental collapse. But that was when Ken Griffey Jr. came back to the lineup, because remember, he had broken his wrist earlier in the season. But he was back. The bats got hot for the Mariners. Pitching was on point, and all of a sudden, things flipped on its head, and the Mariners won the AL West on the last day of the season, and the Angels missed out. I think the Angels missed out on the wild card because the Yankees grabbed that wild card. So, but the last 4 games, especially, and I gotta give credit where credit's due. I give credit to Hal Steinbrenner for letting Brian Cashman go shopping, do shopping at the trade deadline to get some extra bats, to get some better infield defense, to get some arms in the bullpen, because we saw some of the arms in the bullpen had been kind of lacking, or guys are missing or injured or got demoted. And I gotta give credit where credit's due. Brian Cashman did the things that identified the issues, went out, got the players that they needed. I mean, Ryan McMahon was doing pretty decently up until this past series, but they've lost 4 in a row since the trade deadline ended. Inexcusably got swept by the Marlins this past weekend, and last night they lose to the Texas Rangers. And I can't help but wonder, what's it going to take for Aaron Boone to change his managerial style, for him to realize you can't always get your runs with the long ball. Like, you have to get, I'm our friend of the show, Jeff Levac, who was just on the show Saturday. I remember him talking on their show on Levac and Goss, talking about how back in the day, Joe Torre didn't have to rely on the long ball too much. Like, you just get Jeter on base, get Bernie on base.
Yes.
We'll get you home.
That's the thing that people feel, people look back at those Joe Torre managed Yankees teams, and they're like, oh, of course, those teams had power. They had great hitters. They did, but Joe Torre knew how to play the old cliche of situational baseball. Those Yankee teams could play small when they needed to and get runners on base and score runs other ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm flabbergasted, especially after this weekend, particularly the moment when Jazz Chisholm decided to try to fake the runner after the batter before him popped up in the infield, got an infield out, and then got doubled up because he tried to fake going to second on a pop-up and gets winds up getting it out. And that's what Kevin, friend of the show, Kevin Wilson, our boy of summer, says in the comment section. Question: how much more embarrassing does it have to get than getting doubled off first on a pop-up to second? No more embarrassing than the fact that Aaron Boone had a conversation with Jazz Chisholm and kept him in the game.
Yeah.
That to me is flabbergasting. That to me is just absolute. I know he's trying to be a player's manager. I know the Yankees wanted somebody who could relate to today's baseball player. And Aaron Boone supposedly was that guy. But sometimes you gotta be the dad in the situation and punish your kid for making a mistake.
Yeah.
And then he'd do that. And they asked him after the game, the media asked Aaron Boone, he was defending his decision. They asked Chaz Chisholm about the situation, and he said, "Yeah, if it happened again, I would have done the same, tried to do the same thing." Not even little leaguers make that mistake. Like, come on, hold your guys accountable. And that's the one thing that Aaron Boone is not good at.
No,
he is not good at holding players accountable. I don't know if it's because he was one. You just can't seem to hold players accountable. Can't call them out in the media. Can't call them out. Can't yell at them. I mean, famously, I was going to talk about this on Saturday, but I'm old enough to remember, or at least looking in the archives, when Reggie Jackson got pulled by Billy Martin in 1977 for lazily running after a fly ball that could have been caught, and he didn't catch it. Got pulled from the game, and they were having an argument in the dugout.
Yeah.
Where's that
broadcast? Yeah, everyone could see it.
The whole world could see it. And you don't see that anymore because I don't want to offend this player because he's not playing 200% to his potential, and he's not. I don't want to call him out because I'm trying to be sensitive. I'm trying not to hurt his feelings, but like, hurt people's feelings, hurt them publicly if you have to. That's what good managers do. If you can't play to the level that you're supposed to be playing, which is in the major leagues, then stay home. Stay home. Demand a trade. Ask for your release. You're gonna get paid anyway. I mean, that's what happened with Marcus Stroman. Got paid $18 million to sit at home after they got Luis Heel back in the lineup, and he didn't pitch very well on Sunday, which I thought was very surprising against this Marlins team that is suddenly an okay baseball team. Maybe they heard my prediction for them to lose 100 games this year, and they're spotting me too. It's like all these baseball teams hear me.
Yes.
they're spotting me.
It happened to both of us because the Angels heard me, and they're playing better than they have in a long time. Yeah. But I think you hit the nail on the head, Brian. I'll just jump in briefly here. But Aaron Boone, we love the fact that he was a player's manager and he stick up for his guys, but that act gets old when there's no accountability, like you said, on the other side. And let's call it what it is. Devin Williams has been awful in the closer role. He blew another lead last night. He's blown. I saw a graphic and I was going to screenshot it and send it to you before the show, but then my feed request refreshed and I couldn't find it. But he has blown a number of leads in the ninth, a number, and yet Boone continues to go back to him. And that's the thing. At some point, as a manager, you have to decide, okay, I don't care what kind of contract this guy signed. I don't care that he was our big acquisition. It is not working. I've got to tinker. You have David Bednar, who had his own struggles. But he seems to have righted the ship. They brought Bednar in the 8th, I think, last night, and he was okay. And you give the ball to Williams in the 9th. Why don't you try it out and let Bednar pitch the 9th? See what happens. You've also got Luke Weaver, who for stretches was good as the Yankees closer. The Devin Williams experience has failed. You want to rebuild his confidence? Keep him in the 7th, 8th inning role because he seemed to thrive there. You went back to him too early. It hasn't worked, but that's Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone will not pivot. It seems like he will not pivot. He will not stray from his style. And like I said, he's always going to support his players, which is great when you're winning, but it emerges as a pattern when you can tell that there's no accountability on the team. And also your point about relying on the long ball is dead on. Let's call it what it is, Yankee fans. Without Aaron Judge, the complexion of this lineup changes, and they have to change how they play baseball. Giancarlo Stanton can still get hot in streaks, but he's not the player he once was.
Nope.
Jazz Chisholm hasn't hit the way that we thought he would. Paul Goldschmidt's numbers have slid off a cliff. You've got to figure out other ways. The home run is not your saving grace. And the thing is, you could say, oh, well, that's just the thing that happened this year. No, it happened last year when Aaron Judge cooled down in the postseason. Look what happened to them. It happened the year before. I can't remember if it was 23 or 22, but there was that year that the Yankees offense was as hot as anybody in the first half of the year. And then they cratered in the second half of the year because guess what happened? They stopped hitting home runs and they had that horrible slide. It's what happens seemingly every year under Aaron Boone. And at some point, you got to stop blaming it on all these other things. I always say, oh, you never have enough pitching and injuries hurt, like the Garrett Cole injury right before the year. Can't deny it changed the complexion of the rotation. And Max Fried, the addition has been great, but now he's got, what is it? Is it a blister or something?
Blister.
There's something he's got. He clearly hasn't been the same guy, but you can't keep blaming it on, oh, if only this person was healthy or if only this person was helping. It is the manager's job. Like you said, there is a person who watches the show frequently who says his problem is with Cashman regarding the problems with the Yankees. But like you said, Cashman went out and got the Yankees pieces, got Boone pieces to fix the leaks on this team. And for whatever reason, he just can't seem to mix and match the right guys or figure out when a change is needed or anything.
No. And I hate the way he juggles the lineup constantly. He's moving Aaron Boone around, moving Aaron Judge around. And by the way, that's another big problem. As soon as Aaron Judge was announced that he had an injury, where's the offense? The offense is down south.
That's the thing. The lineup completely changes when he's out.
Mm-hmm. So what brings me to my point is that I think as fans, yes, we want to see change. He's in the, what's this now? Is it 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4? This is his 7th season with the Yankees. He's gotten to the World Series once, lost that World Series last year because the Dodgers, and correctly so, identified the issue that the Yankees aren't disciplined on the base paths. And that's the number of issues where, and I think the path to the World Series last year was too easy because they went through the AL Central. They beat the Royals in 4 games. Then they beat the Guardians in 5. And you just thought to yourself, all right, it's the AL Central teams, and then they faced the Dodgers and they got absolutely pounded. Except for Game 4 when they actually showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had that monumental collapse in the 5th inning of Game 5. It's like, this team was going to be is not built for is not built to win. They're not built to win, and the sad thing about it is, as much as fans want Aaron Boone to be fired, Hal Steinbrenner is not going to fire him. Part of the reason why is because he's not going to pay Aaron Boone to stay home 2 months. For 2-3 more months for one, because I believe it's signing a 2-year extension at the end of the 2023 or 2024 season. I can't remember which season. He signed an extension. So anytime Aaron Boone gets asked a question and he has to, he defends himself. He goes after a reporter for asking a question. He goes after his first base coach for not telling Jazz Chisholm to come back, even though Jazz had made the decision to try to make the Marlins second baseman make an error. It just seems like he knows he's not going to get fired, so he's not earning his pinstripes, so to speak. But he's coming from an area of entitlement, and he feels like, oh, we're the Yankees. We're wearing pinstripes. We're
we assume we're always going to go to the postseason. So we're going to try to coast out. We're going to get really hot in the spring. And then we had this weird summer swoon. And then also we catch fire in September, at the end of August and into September, we make the playoffs. We're always going to get in the playoffs. We're the Yankees. We're the New York Yankees. We're always going to be in the playoffs. And it's just this management from a sense of entitlement, because he knows he's not going to be let go, because Hal Steinbrenner's too focused on the bottom line and being profitable than actually winning championships. So that's why you're going to see Aaron Boone in the dugout for the rest of this season, and probably beyond until that next contract runs out.
Well, Ryan, I have some bad news for you, because I did some real-time research. Per MLB.com, on February 20th of 2025, the New York Yankees announced today that they have signed Aaron Boone to a 2-year contract extension through the 2027 season.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
Oh man, I didn't think we'd see that until football season. I forgot you added that one last year.
Let's go to the comments in the comments section. I'm getting way too angry now. Julie from Michigan saying, "Hello, gentlemen. Good evening to you, Julie." Our friend of the show from overseas, Sick Diggy, saying, "This edition of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Big Bad Beards, the ultimate store for facial hair. Be it corporate, hipster, or hippie, we've got you covered. Got beard? Get covered. And Yuck Mouth Dental Insurance. Either keep it minty fresh or keep it shut." He also says there's utter chaos and confusion in that Yankees clubhouse. Can we say delusional? If you're a player, you have to say that, especially if you're a New York Yankee, you have to say the right things, or else the media will go right at you.
Oh yeah.
That's part of it. They just feel like they can't speak their minds. And I have to wonder if I'm a player, I'm secretly going, what the hell is going on with Booney? What's he doing? What's he making this decision? What's he making all these decisions he's making with the lineup and with the pitching and how he's managing those pitchers and the analytics stuff? It's just like where's your touch? Like, where's your just like feeling for the game?
Well, you have to wonder about the people around Boone. If everyone's afraid to say, hey, can we look at change? And we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, okay? Aaron Boone could be addressing some of these situations behind closed doors because he doesn't want to do it in the media, which I have no problem with that. But I'll go back to it. It was Mike Holmgren who said to Bill Walsh at a team meeting for the San Francisco 49ers, Bill said, "What's the problem? Why are we losing?" And no one would say anything. And finally, Mike Holmgren said, "I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is the quarterback." Bill Walsh got mad. He said, "You need to pick one and stay with it. It is messing with the offensive, feel of the team." And Bill Walsh he got angry by his standards, left the room, and everybody dressed down Mike Holmgren. And then Bill Walsh comes back in. He says, "You know what, Mike? You're right. But if this goes wrong, I'm going to have to fire you." So, sometimes you got to put your cojones on the table, I guess,
Julie's saying the AL Central was pretty tight last season. That is true. That is very true. Sidney saying, "What in the all types of New York blue and orange hell was that clip?" That's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Sick. He also says, could it be that Aaron Boone is losing his touch? Yeah, there's a point. There's a certain point in a manager's time with a team, or any or a coach with any sort of football team, hockey team, basketball team, where the message gets lost.
Yeah,
and if I'm a player, I have to start wondering, should I even listen to this guy anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Jazz Chisholm didn't on Saturday, and we're still talking about it on Tuesday.
Well, and that's the thing. To me, there's two types of managers or coaches or any across any sport, Ryan. And let me know if you agree. You got the disciplinarian who the players tune them out eventually because they get sick of being rode all the time, and then you have the ultra players coach where There's no accountability. There's nothing. So players know that they're not going to get, there's not going to be consequences. So then they just do what they want and they just disregard the message. And I think Aaron Boone is the latter of those two options. And to me, those are the two types. And the right manager that is able to, or coach that is able to last the longest, is enough of a disciplinarian to command respect, but also knows when to take their foot off the gas. That's why, I mean, Pete Carroll, the thing is, when you're winning, that rah-rah attitude that he has, people buy into it. But when you're losing and things are going a little south, that rah-rah attitude, players don't buy it.
Right. All right. Let me just do one thing here and boom. All right. So next topic before we go to commercial break, we're going to play a game of what if. And this is kind of foreshadowing to what we've been working on the last 2 Sundays that No Credentials Required. That will be released over the next 2 weeks while we're on our break. And it was Dustin who proposed this during our conversation, but we kind of wanted to preview it to you, our listening audience, and our streaming audience as well. Why don't you go ahead and bring it up, Dustin?
Okay, well, for those of you who don't know, at the peak of his powers, I mean, I would say close to the peak of his powers, following the 92-93 season, Michael Jordan decided to retire from basketball and play minor league baseball with the Chicago White Sox organization in 1994. And what else happened in 1994, Ryan?
The Major League Baseball strike.
Yes. And so while I posed this question in my head, I said we should discuss this. What happens if that Major League Baseball strike didn't happen? Do you think Michael Jordan would have stuck with baseball? If Michael Jordan had stuck with baseball, one, how would it change the landscape of the NBA? Because we all know Michael Jordan's impact on the NBA. And also, as another aside, there were a couple things happening in the MLB season where history would have been made. So I thought we should go through some of the best what ifs.
Okay. So let's start with what if the Major League Baseball players didn't go on strike? What if they decided to play out the rest of the season without a CBA? Not so much without a CBA, but with a little bit of labor peace, and then kind of renegotiate in the fall. That's one of my things. That's one of my what ifs.
Yeah, and I think my biggest one is Tony Gwynn. He gets the bat. He finishes the season over 400. Because he was batting 394, I think, right when the season
393, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Okay.
We'll double check.
Yeah, we're doing it. But I mean, you all know my love for Tony Gwynn on this show, and Ryan's. We've both talked about him many times, and I think when our boy of Summer's been on with us talking baseball, he's talked Tony Gwynn too. But I think Tony Gwynn, he makes history and finishes with the highest batting average in the regular season. And you posed an interesting one to me, Ryan, about who was leading in home runs at that time, and what might have happened if the season had kept going.
Yes, in the 1994 season, actually, it was Matt Williams.
Oh, Matt
who led
Williams.
the majors. And Matt Williams from the San Francisco Giants was leading the major leagues in home runs with 43.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr. was right behind him with 40. And Jeff Bagwell at 39, Frank Thomas with 38, Barry Bonds with 37. So could we have seen Babe Ruth's record, the number 61, would it have been broken in 1994? Especially with these hitters having the seasons that they did. And let's go to the batting average. Yeah, I mean, you know what, Dustin, you were right. It was 394.
Okay. All right.
But Jeff Bagwell was putting up Triple Crown numbers that season. He had 39 home runs and 116 RBIs, and he was hitting 368. So we could have seen a Triple Crown. Now I don't think Tony Gwynn was going to be unstoppable. Was going to drop off at any time in his in that season. But Jeff Bagwell at the time was putting up some impressive numbers, very impressive numbers. He was leading the major leagues in RBIs up until the end of the stoppage with 116. And right behind him was Kirby Puckett with 112. So yeah,
one of your favorites.
One of my favorite number 34. Yeah, we lost another guy. We lost way too soon. Way too soon. And then we look at the pitching. We look at pitching, and for the 1994 season, let's see what happened. Let's see who was doing what in 1994.
Pedro Martinez was on the Expos at that time, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Randy Johnson that was when he was starting to become that dominant pitcher. He had four shutouts. He led the major with 4 shutouts that season. Also was leading with 204 strikeouts. So, and he was way above Andy Bennis. Look at that name, Andy Bennis.
Oh man,
remember him?
Oh yeah,
it was 15 strikeouts ahead of him. And then the ERA, although Randy Johnson had a 3.19 ERA that season. Incredible.
Yeah.
But Greg Maddux, though, he was far and away. He had the best ERA with the 1.56 ERA. The next closest in terms of regular starting pitchers was Brett Saberhagen with a 2.74 ERA.
Oh man, the bleach gun loader himself.
and you know who the major league leader in wins was in 1994 before the stoppage?
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think. I cannot think now.
Jimmy Key.
Oh man, no joke. I was going to throw out Jimmy Key as a haymaker.
Yes, Jimmy Key was 17-4 with a 3.27 ERA and only 97 strikeouts, but he had 168 innings pitched through one complete game. This is his first season. I believe this was his first season as a full-time New York Yankee.
Oh man, I'm no joke, Ryan. I was like, say Jimmy Key to be funny, and I didn't do it.
No. Followed by David Cohn, Ken Hill of the Montreal Expos, Greg Maddux, and Mike Mussina, who are right behind him with 16.
Mike Mussina, love that. I love that guy. Love that guy.
Yeah, it was 1994, man, was incredible. Now,
yeah, it was a great baseball year.
So on the flip side, 1990, but also in the Major League standings, American League East was New York Yankees in first place at that time with a 70-43 record, the best in the East, with they were 6.5 games up above Baltimore. In the Central, the Chicago White Sox were a game up on the Cleveland Indians, followed by the Kansas City Royals, and then lagging behind them with the Minnesota Twins and Milwaukee Brewers. Yes. And the American League West, Dustin, get ready, get your sides straightened, stretch out your sides.
Yeah.
The Texas Rangers were in first place in the American League West with the record of 52-62.
Oh man, that division's not good that year.
Followed by the Oakland A's at 51-63. Trailing by only 1 game, followed by the Seattle Mariners, who are trailing by 2 games with a 49-63 record, and the California Angels 5.5 back at 47-68.
Ooh,
yeah.
Wow.
On the National League side, Montreal had a 6-game lead on the Atlanta Braves at a Major League best 74-40.
Yeah, they were a great team that year. I remember a lot of Montreal fans. And Ryan, here's another impromptu what if. If Montreal, now this is a big if. Now, if Montreal had won the World Series that year, Would baseball have ultimately stayed in Montreal for a bit longer? Who knows? Who knows? You have to wonder. But I know the Expos fans bemoan about the talent that they had in '94 and the young talent that was starting to come into their own. Pedro Martinez among them.
You know what their starting day lineup was? Their starting day lineup was Moises Alou, Sean Barry, Will Cordero, Darren Fletcher, Cliff Floyd, Marquise Grissom, Mike Lansing, Pedro Martinez at the start that day, and Larry Walker. That was their opening day lineup.
That's ridiculous. I mean, Larry Walker, underrated. I think, he's a great player. And people think that his numbers are inflated because of Coors Field. No. I mean, did Coors help? Yeah, but Larry Walker, great player. And I mean, Cliff Floyd, if you don't know how good Cliff Floyd was, go check him out.
Yeah. But yeah, on the other side of the spectrum, the NBA, and if Jordan had stayed out of the NBA, I mean, Houston would have still beat the Knicks. They still would have had their 2 titles over the Knicks and the Magic. But if Jordan stayed the course with baseball and possibly had gone to the major leagues, he would have joined a loaded Chicago White Sox lineup. For how long, we don't know. But in the NBA, like, which teams would have emerged as the next dynasty? I think it would have been the Rockets.
Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I think the Houston Rockets would have, because don't forget, they had Charles Barkley on their team in 1997.
Yep.
When they went to the West Final and they lost by a bucket in Game 6 to Utah. So I think Houston could have been the next dynasty. I think in the East, it would have been a mishmash. Orlando would have certainly been in the conversation with Houston for a couple of years to come, until Shaq decided to leave for the Lakers. And for some reason, Penny Hardaway just couldn't avoid the injury bug. If Shaq had stayed in Orlando, that injury bug wouldn't have hit Penny Hardaway so hard, because the team was so reliant on him after Shaq left to produce how he was producing before. And he was a better number 2 to Shaq's number 1 guy.
Well, and you gotta wonder, Ryan, and maybe it's my love of Shaq for coming through here. Now there were outside factors influencing Shaq. Like if Alonzo Mourning was still going to get that contract, although I'll get to that. But maybe Shaq, if Orlando had possibly gotten out of the East a few more times, because with Jordan gone, the East looks different. In my mind, the top of the East at that time would have been the Knicks, Pacers, the Magic. That's what it would have been. So if the Knicks hypothetically get by and they break through the East, does Pat Riley leave New York? Does he ever go to Miami? Does he ever sign Alonzo Mourning to that deal? If I think Reggie Miller probably would have had an NBA title. I mean, that Pacers team, they had the veteran leadership. They had young talent. And Reggie Miller, let's not get it twisted, he's a Hall of Famer. That Pacers team is riddled with Hall of Famers. They had Chris Mullins. But to me, if the Orlando Magic had gotten out, does Brian Hill get fired? Does the player only meeting happen? Does the team nucleus stay together? And does Shaq look around at that young age and decide, you know what? I'm going to stay here? Because you can't. Shaq at that young age, he wanted to be the main guy. And the Rich DeVos underpaid him. They underpaid him. And Shaq also was sensitive, because there was fans in Orlando that said Shaq was not worth the money. So you don't know, but winning cures a lot of ails.
It does.
If the Magic were able to get over the hump, which they got swept by the Bulls. If Jordan's not there, I don't think they get swept by the Bulls. And what was it? I think 95, 96, they got swept. I don't think they get swept by the Bulls if Jordan's not there, because it's not Jordan's maniacal drive that is pissed that Horace got carried off the year before.
Yeah.
I think the Magic, could Shaq have stayed? Could he have decided, okay, I can win here. We'll figure out the money later. Let's keep this together.
Yeah. We got some, before we go to break, got some comments in the comments section here. Friend of the show, Sick saying, keep in mind that the fans can also be pretty fickle at times. We know, because we're Yankees fans. We have we have a certain expectation of them to not just go to the playoffs every season, but to win a World Series. And we're like, it's been 16 years since we saw a World Series trophy, in that case at Yankee Stadium. So, yes, continuing on, Sick says, in 1994, Major League Baseball strike, FIFA World Cup in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, it was a big event because it was big for U.S. soccer. But, you know, I'll fast forward to 2026 and no titles yet, but that's okay. Hopefully, I mean, FIFA World Cup is in, I think, 2 years. 2 years, yeah. Sick believes that Cito Gaston would have led the Toronto Blue Jays to a three-peat. Sick, at the time that that play stopped, the Toronto Blue Jays were 16 games back of the Yankees. And we're 55-60. So I don't think they would have even sniffed the playoffs, let alone win a World Series. But that's just me. And I think that was the first year the wild card came into play too. So it would have been the Yankees, White Sox, Rangers, and then the Cleveland Indians as the wild card in the American League, with Montreal, the Cincinnati Reds. The NL Central leading Cincinnati Reds, and the Los Angeles Dodgers would have been the 3 division winners, with the Atlanta Braves winning the wild card spot. So the Toronto Blue Jays, I don't think they would have even come close to sniffing a playoff spot. But hey, that's what the what if is about. It also says Pedro Martinez was with the Expos and ruined a no-hitter against the Cubs by beaning Reggie Sanders. I remember that bench clearing ball. It was actually on against the Reds when he brushed back Reggie Sanders. It was in the middle of a perfect game. He was at 7 1/3 inning. So it was in the 8th inning, in the 7th inning, where he threw that brush back pitch and started the brawl. That ruined his perfect game. So he also said the Knicks might have eventually won an NBA championship with Patrick Ewing. Yes, but only if Anthony Mason stays with the Knicks.
And I also, John Starks, I don't know if John Starks, I don't know if that's enough. I mean, who knows? There's a lot. These are all hypotheticals.
Yeah. Dennis Rodman will remain in San Antonio. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know, because I know Jack Haley was the one that kept him relatively sane, but I just think if he had kept up his antics, he would have been out of the league, and the Bulls would not have signed him if George hadn't come back. Our boy of summer saying the Jazz would have finally beaten Houston and won at least one championship. The only thing that really kept the Jazz from winning a title was not having a true big man at center. I mean, they had Greg Ostertag, but it's Greg Ostertag. Sixth thing, the Bulls would have built around Scottie Pippen, but would have been trapped in his long-term contract. That we actually stick around to the end of the show. Sick, we got an announcement for you. Yeah. Does Latrell Sprewell still have that preseason fight at Golden State? That's a good question. Kevin saying wild cards began in '95, but Kevin, I thought with the 3 divisions, there would have been a wild card in '94 anyway. I know that they began in '95 because of the way that the strike ending the season, but wouldn't the wild card have began in '94 if they kept going?
I'll let you two figure that out. You're both smarter than me.
That's what I thought. I thought that the wild card began in '90. It was supposed to begin in '94 because they went to a 3-division. We have a 3-division format.
I did not know that.
Six saying I stand corrected, and Kevin says we don't wish to discuss Greg Ostertag.
This is the last thing. I could be conflating it, but was Bartolo Colon also on the Expos at that time? Was he another one of the young pieces? I have to
Let's take a look.
Bartolo Colon.
Not at that time.
Okay, yeah. I'm trying to remember. I remember he was on the Expos, but man, Bartolo pitched for a long time. I liked watching him pitch, man.
Yeah,
he was really good on the Angels too.
He didn't go to the Expos until 2002.
Oh, all right.
His major league start didn't come until 1997.
Okay, I'm way off. Oh yeah, that's right. He came in with the Indians, I think. I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Man,
yes, he did.
All right. I'm getting confused.
All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we gotta react to Dan Orlovsky's quarterbacks that had the most to prove in 2025, and we'll also reveal our favorite players to wear number 58. So stand by and stay tuned for more. No credentials required.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
That's right, folks. Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Fantastic craft jerky. Handcrafted jerky. 100% natural beef. No preservatives. None of that extra junk. It's all... no antibiotics in this beef jerky. Lots of plenty of variety of flavors to choose from. It's not... And again, it's not just the beef jerky, but also they have African-inspired biltong. They've also got turkey jerky, which tastes like a Thanksgiving dinner. They get the beef sticks, which are 100% beef. They also have that one street taco flavor. It's a beef stick. It's 100% pork.
That's my fave.
Yes, and those beef sticks and those pork sticks, unlike the competition, they're 100% beef and pork. Unlike some of those other brands of beef sticks, their primary ingredient is pulverized chicken.
Oh, for shame.
Damn shame. But it's not just human food they have. They also have dog treats. Dustin, why don't you tell folks at home about the dog treats that they have?
They have Ranger dog treats, Ryan, and they have things that in them like duck, flaxseed, sweet potato, natural ingredients, and it drives dogs crazy. I can confirm because I watch my sister's dog from time to time. Pickles, I love that little guy. And every time I go to the closet, where they even are, he knows and he follows me and he gets very excited. I hear the pitter patter of little feet running right behind me because he knows what's coming. I make him do tricks for them, but he always does the tricks. He always listens. He's such a good boy when he wants one of the Ranger dog treats. And also, they're big enough for bigger dogs too. They're about the size. They look kind of like the sticks, the meat sticks. Just a dog version of it. They're a little smaller, but it's perfect for me because I can break them up into smaller pieces because Pickles is a little guy and he loves them. And I will forever compliment their shipping. It was rewind to December of 2024. I realized, oh my goodness, I never got Pickles dog treats. I'm going to get dog treats. It is December 22nd. And I'm like, I got to order them. They're not going to get there by Christmas Eve, but maybe they'll get there, a day or so after Christmas and I can give them to him later. They arrived December 23rd during the holiday season. And I was able to wrap them up and bring them. And no one was the wiser that I was a horrible dog uncle and I was a last minute shopper for the little guy, but he loved them. He loves them. And just as a quick aside, my brother-in-law, he can attest that he loves them as well. He won our OV Gold Watch, and as part of that, he got Righteous Felon beef jerky was a part of the package win. He couldn't decide on one flavor, so I got him one of their sampler packs with 8 different flavors in them. He loved them all.
All right. Yeah. So yes, Righteous Felon. What you want to do is go to righteousfelon.com. You want to fill your basket with a bunch of stuff: jerky, beef sticks, dog treats, stickers, shirts. They got t-shirts. They got lots of gear, hats. And you want to use promo code BELLYUP at checkout. You get 15% off your order. But also, for any order of $50 or more in your cart, you also get free and fast shipping. So you can combine the promo code and free shipping, and you save even more with Righteous Felon. RighteousFelon.com, promo code BELLYUP at checkout, 15% off your order, plus free shipping for any order over $50 or more. All right, we got to quickly react to Dan Orlovsky on First Take this morning, talking about the 5 quarterbacks in the NFL this year with the most to prove. And here's his list, which I provided in the Discord. At 5, number 5, Anthony Richardson of the I almost said Baltimore, Indianapolis Colts. Look at me, the Baltimore Colts, sure. Indianapolis Colts. Although I think he's got some shoulder issues. I don't know if he's on the I don't know if he's in camp currently, but someone let me know in the chat. At number 4, Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. Number 3, JJ McCarthy, no relation. Minnesota Vikings. Number 2, Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And number 1, Caleb Williams of the Chicago Bears. It's a fascinating list.
Yes.
It's not like Mike Tannenbaum's top 5 NFC quarterbacks, which, by the way, our video's blowing up. Especially in the comments section.
Oh, boy.
And all you Jordan Love stands, all you Jordan lovers, you guys need to back up a bit, man. We're still getting comments.
Hey, and Will Apollo, if he comes out and lights it up, I'll be the first. I will issue another public apology to him.
If he wins the Super Bowl or if he either guides the Packers to the Super Bowl or wins the Super Bowl this season, we're going to say we're wrong. Until then, he's not on our list. Sorry, not sorry. But anyway, let's talk about this list, Dustin. Is Dan Orlovsky right, or are there other quarterbacks you see on this list?
You know, I'm looking at this list, and I really feel like he got it pretty right, in my opinion, on this list. About the only thing that I would do is he has Caleb Williams at number 1. I would put Trevor Lawrence at number 1 because Trevor Lawrence has had more time in the league. Caleb Williams, you could still argue he's very young, and he's still like. If he continues to improve, yes, the Bears have put everything on to Caleb Williams. Everything they tried to do, they ran Justin Fields out of town so they could draft Caleb Williams. They telegraphed that they wanted Caleb Williams from the jump. He was touted as a can't miss quarterback. But who else was touted as perhaps the greatest quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, Ryan? Who else was touted as a franchise savior? And I would put that, and he got the pass. He got the pass because his first year under Urban Meyer, I have lit Urban Meyer up for the way that he handled his year in Jacksonville. Nobody could have succeeded under those conditions. And so Trevor gets a pass for that. But with the exception of that second season where he had Doug Peterson running the helm there, Trevor Lawrence has regressed, and it's not for lack of talent in Jacksonville. They have tried to surround him with some players, and he just hasn't been able to put it on. Now, I think this list is pretty well dead on. I wonder if you have any additions, Ryan. Caleb, I give a little bit of a longer leash because he's still younger, and as long as he continues to improve, I think he buys himself some time. but he also has a lot of pressure on him.
Well, you know who's going to be coaching Trevor Lawrence this season in Jacksonville, don't you?
Duval.
Oh man,
The douche
so
chills
bad.
every time I hear
It's
that.
so bad.
I would say this list is pretty accurate, but I have a couple of caveats.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson should not be on that list because we don't know if he's going to be the starting quarterback in Indianapolis just
Daniel
yet.
Jones is pushing him, Ryan.
Indiana Jones, baby! Let's go!
Oh, that has to happen. If he doesn't come out with a whip and a hat his first game, what are we doing?
And he should come out to that music too. All right, I'll stop because I don't want a copyright strike. I would say Caleb Williams. I would put him lower on the list, only because it's his second season. And he's under a new, and he's got a new quarterback. He's got a new coach. So he's got to learn a brand new system with Ben Johnson. By the way, don't mention Ben Johnson to Julie from Michigan. She will just no, because he went to Chicago. JJ McCarthy, I wouldn't quite have on this list because it's going to be his first full season. He's got Kevin O'Connell as his quarterback whisperer. I think if he sat down if he was a student, I know he's a student of the game. If you're injured for the entire season, and you're just going to observe what Sam Darnold did with Kevin O'Connell last year, so I wouldn't have him on the list because I don't think he has that much to prove, considering he's got one of the best receivers in football.
Yeah,
Jordan Jefferson as your primary target. And you also got Jordan Addison. Oh, I'm sorry. Jordan Addison is out for the first 3 games because he violated National Football League's PED policy today.
Oh, jeez.
Oops. But he's got he's got a talented receiving core, and he's got TJ Hawkinson as a tight end.
Great tight end, yeah.
Fantastic tight end. So I don't think he's got a whole lot to prove. I think he'll struggle at the onset, but I don't think he has a lot to prove, especially in that. But it's going to be a very good division this year, the NFC North.
I would argue, I think the only reason he might be on the list is you could make the argument. You could say, if he doesn't go out and perform, there's going to be Vikings fans that would be like, oh, we could have just hung on to Sam Darnold. We could have just hung on to Sam Darnold. But I think that says more about how the Vikings felt about Sam Darnold's performance in those final 2 games.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the biggest question in Seattle. I mean, for this season is the play of Sam Darnold. So time will tell.
Yeah. I would remove Anthony Richardson. I would remove JJ McCarthy and Caleb Williams. I would keep Trevor Lawrence and Bryce Young. Trevor Lawrence, third head coach, but he's got an offensive mind like Liam Cohen, who did a lot of good things in Tampa Bay. Bryce Young absolutely definitely has a lot to prove this year because of the way he ended his 2024 season.
Mm-hmm.
That Atlanta game, that shootout, the final game of the season with them was incredible. And I think he's going to build on that this season. I think we're going to see a lot of. I think Carolina might be one of those very, 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 very dark horse teams. Maybe it's foreshadowing for our NFL preview, September 3rd, by the way, our NFL preview. I would add to this list. I would actually remove 3. I would remove Caleb Williams. I would remove JJ McCarthy. I would remove Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
I would add Sam Darnold.
All right.
Because I want to see what he does in Seattle. I want to see if last season was a fluke in Minnesota. So he's got a lot to prove. I would add, and let me get the button here. Homer alert.
Oh, okay.
I would add Justin Fields to that list. And actually, that 21, I guess I've said it last couple episodes, that 2021 NFL quarterback draft class, the first round, that's a study. That needs to be studied in full detail. Because Zach Wilson is currently the number 3 quarterback in Miami. Good Lord.
Yeah.
So Sam Darnold, Justin Fields. I I think this is going to shock a lot of people, especially because of my hatred for this team. Drake May in New England. He's got Stephon Diggs as his primary receiver. He's got a new coach with Mike Vrabel, who's going to keep him disciplined. Demario Douglas, I guess, is a pretty steady guy. Is a really solid receiver. I think he was one of their draft picks this year, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, he was a draft pick two years ago, but he's going to be his number 2 receiver. And Hunter Henry's not a terrible tight end.
Yeah,
he's got Ramondre Stevenson. He's got to get the hand off to Ramondre Stevenson. So I think he's got a lot to prove this year. There's 2 AFC East quarterbacks who have a lot to prove this year. So Justin Fields, again, I think he didn't get coached up. He definitely did not get coached up in Chicago. No. They ran him out of town. Then goes to Pittsburgh, leads the Steelers to a 4-2 record, and gets sat down by Mike Tomlin because Russell Wilson was healthy again. And Russell Wilson only won almost as many games, actually just one game more than Justin Fields the rest of the season. And they got absolutely slapped around in the playoffs in the wild card against Baltimore. So my list is Trevor Lawrence. And this is not in any particular order. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, Drake May. Honorable mention, CJ Stroud.
Okay, yeah, because of his sophomore slump he had. There's no denying.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why he had that sophomore slump is because Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs had season-ending injuries. And they ran a lot more because they had Joe Mixon in their backfield. And don't forget, the Texans beat the Chargers in the wild card round. And they almost had the Chiefs on the ropes in the divisional.
They did. I mean, you're right. They rallied, and I would say the defense overall underperformed compared to where they were the previous season with DeMeco Ryans. So there's multiple factors, but yes, CJ's play dropped off a little bit, but those are all good reasons. And I struggled with this because some people I felt like were playing with house money, but it also breed I would make a case. Does Bo Nix need to go on this list because he needs to live up to what he did as a rookie, and now people have expectations? Does he? Yeah. But I don't think he needs to. That's where I struggle. Or I was almost going to say Michael Penix because of the way Michael Penix wrapped up the season and the fact that the Falcons jettisoned Kirk Cousins, and now there's no backup option if Michael Penix fails there. So I mean, I don't know. You can make a lot of arguments, but I feel like Michael Penix bought himself time. That's what he did with that play.
I think Michael Penix's sample size is too small.
Yeah,
that's my humble opinion.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's just my humble opinion. Who was the other quarterback you said might have another?
Bo Nix, because of what he did last year.
Yeah,
So now people are actually expecting things from Bo Nix.
That's true. And I shared in our Discord what I thought were Mike Tannenbaum's top 5 AFC quarterbacks, but that was based off a Google search, and Google AI wasn't really entirely reliable.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he actually revealed them, but anywho, we're going to move on to our last segment of this show, which is Actually, I got a couple of comments in the comment section.
Yeah.
Sick mentioned that the World Cup will be hosted next year by the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Yes, I thought I said 2026, and I know it was the 3 nations hosting it. I think U.S. is hosting the Cup final. Kevin said I was correct. The wild card would have been used in '94 if not for the strike. I was right. And he also says Dak needs to be on this list. Dak needs a running game.
Yeah.
And I actually saw in a New York Jets Discord this afternoon that I think some writer had a trade proposal of Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson, and the next 2 Jets first round draft picks for Micah Parsons.
Wow.
No. And your Uncle Al saying, never get rid of Dak.
Well, that's the thing, Kevin. I agree with what you're saying on premise is that Dak's got a lot, he's got pressure on him because of the money that he commands. But I think most people don't think of him because they already don't think he's worth that money. They already that we know what Dak is. We know what in a lot of our minds, I think we know what his ceiling is. He's going to have a 13-3 regular season and flame out in the playoffs.
Yeah, or they make the wild card and get beat out in a very tight game against a division winner that finished just above 500.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap up the show with our favorite athletes to wear number 58 because this is the 58th episode of No Credentials Required in the year of our Lord 2025, and we've been naming our favorite athletes that we've seen play over the years of our sports fandom to wear the number associated with the episode that is being recorded. So this is episode number 58, and I'm going to lead off here. I'll if you allow me the pleasure of doing so. My favorite number 58 is from the Kansas City Chiefs, Derek Thomas, linebacker, edge, Derek Thomas, who arguably, next to Lawrence Taylor, was the best edge rusher of that era. Was drafted by the Chiefs in 1988 from the University of Alabama. So, Desi, if you're watching live or you're watching on if you're watching on replay, yes, another. I did pick somebody who used to play at the University of Alabama. It says my number 58 was an absolute force to be reckoned with as one of the most elite pass rushers of the 1990s. Unfortunately, we lost another guy we lost too soon. Yeah. Another guy we lost way too soon in 2000. Passed away from from complications to a car accident. But he finished his career 169 games played, 126 and a half sacks, 599 solo tackles. Again, arguably next to Lawrence Taylor, the best edge rusher of that era. I believe he tied the record for most sacks in a game in 1993. Derek Thomas, most sacks in a game. Actually, he holds the record outright with 7 sacks in 1990 against their Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
But the Seahawks won that game on a Hail Mary.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They won sweet revenge.
I think it was 17-16.
Oh, a barn burner.
The barn burner. But, Derek Thomas, 7 sacks in a game in 1990. And again, 126 and a half sacks in his career. Would have had more if not for that tragic car accident in Miami in 2000. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 9-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, part of the All 1990s team. Rookie of the Year in 1989. 1993 Walter Payton Award winner. 1994 Alan Page Award winner. Absolute All-Pro in my mind as a football player. Incredible talent. Unfortunately, again, another athlete we lost way too soon in the prime of his career. So that's my number 58. How about you, Dustin? Who's your number 58?
My number 58. I'll keep it quick. I wasn't watching football regularly, or else Derek Thomas would have been probably my pick. But luckily for the show, I'm just a touch younger than you, and I got into football later than you did. Mm-hmm. So it worked out for the content. But I am picking, this is another player who is still currently in the NFL, although he wore 40 most recently. I remember him as 58 for the Denver Broncos, Von Miller. Miller, outside linebacker. Von Miller currently with the Washington Commanders, I believe.
Yes, he signed a 1-year deal with them just recently.
He is a 8-time Pro Bowler, a 3-time All-Pro. He won the Super Bowl twice, once with the Rams, once with the Broncos. He was the Super Bowl 50 MVP. He's on the all 2010s team. And also he was the defensive rookie of the year in 2011. Von Miller still getting it done, although injuries have hampered him somewhat, but teams are still interested in his service. And a little bit of hot take here. I think Dan Quinn gets a little bit of a revival out of Von Miller. Granted, if he can stay healthy this season, Von Miller, my favorite 58.
All right. Yeah, solid pick. And you can also say that Von Miller was responsible for single-handedly ending the elite that was a career of one Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Because he never, after that game, he was never the same.
No, he really wasn't. And a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Cam. I liked watching Cam play, and he helped me win a couple of fantasy league championships. So thank you, Cam.
Yes. Your uncle saying Carl Banks. Yes. Homer, get the Homer alert. Carl Banks. Although he finished his career with the Cleveland Browns when Bill Belichick went to be a coach of that team. So he was with the New York Giants from 1984 to 1992, was part of 2 Super Bowl championship teams with the Giants, one-time Pro Bowler, one-time All-Pro, part of the Hall of Fame all 1980s team, and somehow not in the Hall of Fame. Was with the Redskins in 93, and 94-95 wrapped up his career with the Cleveland Browns. Again, part of the Belichick years in Cleveland. The last before this iteration of the Cleveland Browns was the last head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Before Art Modell packed them up and moved them to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Sick asking, what exactly does Dustin mean by a touch younger? Dustin and I are separated by 5 years and change?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Desi saying, sorry guys, last minute company. No problem, Desi. As I mentioned, I have a former Alabama Crimson Tide player is my favorite number 58. Before the show ends, take a guess who he is. She might be too young. She might be too young to know who Derek Thomas is, but her dad knows. Anyway. All right, we're gonna wrap things up for this edition of No Credentials Required. But before we get out of here, just want to remind you to follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. Check out our other podcasts and written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, YouTube, and Podbean. And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when the show goes live. That way you know about show announcements. That way you know about video clips too. So hit that notification bell. And for Dustin, this is actually his final show before we go on break, because he'll be going on family vacation soon. So I wanted to reveal that special announcement. I said stick around to the end of the show. We'll let you know about what we've been working on the past 2 Sundays. So as you might know, we're going to take a 2-week break, so no live streams from August 10th through August 25th. Although I have a special announcement about that too. So the past 2 Sundays, Dustin and I have been pre-recording content, and we're going to be focusing on the 2020 docu-series, The Last Dance, which is arguably my favorite docu-series focused on one particular era in time in sports, probably in the history of ever, until something else comes along.
Yeah.
And the first episode, which will focus on episodes 1 through 5, that will be released on Wednesday the 13th, so next Wednesday. And then episodes 6 through 10, we're going to release it on August 20th, which happens to also be around my birthday. So we'll be back, and so again, no live streams from the 10th. Our final live stream will be on Saturday the 9th, which Dustin won't be here for, but I have confirmed we're getting Brent from the 1420 Sports Podcast. We're going to talk to him, and I believe we're also going to get our boy of summer, Kevin Wilson on the show. So lots of baseball talk. We're also going to talk some hockey as well. I know it's summer. I know it's August, but we're going to talk some hockey too because I have a pressing issue that I want to bring up to Brent, and he's going to be happy to talk about it because he's got lots of thoughts about it. But so you want to stay tuned for Saturday's live stream. It'll be the last live stream until we come back, until Dustin and I come back on the 26th. We'll resume our regularly scheduled program, and we'll have our NFL preview the following Tuesday on September 3rd. That'll be right before the season begins. Also, my spinoff show, my New York Jets centric spinoff show, Victory Monday, that's coming back. That'll be back on August the 25th. I talked to my buddy Dan in Florida. Obviously, after last year's debacle, we decided we just we weren't in the mood to record anymore. But after Aaron Glenn jumped on board as the head coach and the camp that they've been having, we're both pretty excited about the direction of this team. So we're going to resume Victory Monday, which will be on on August 25th. We're going to start recording around. We'll figure out a time. But
there you go.
But I just want to let the audience know where we're going to be the next 2 weeks. We're going to be gone, baby, gone. Taking a nice, long-deserved break, much-deserved break to recharge our batteries before the NFL season starts in September. So we want to thank all those who have been listening and who have been with us on the live streams. Thank you guys for being there with us. So we're going to get out of here. So thank you for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. I will be here on Saturday. Dustin won't, but I'm sure he'll probably be checking in the comments section from time to time just to chime in and just say hello from where he is in the world. But until then, have a great week. I'll be here Saturday. Dustin, have fun where you're going. We'll see you back on the 26th.
Yeah, well, I'll see you when I get back. And during our break, I won't be on. We won't be having No Credentials Required, but I still will be on Seahawks sessions during at a point during the break. So look for me on that if you miss me that much.
And
good night, everybody.
there we go.